Fort Greene loves food freaks, baby. The best stuff.
This was a clip from the video a friend of mine, John Mann. What's up, John? If you're watching this, thanks for that. Great job. He made this for my food truck back in 2012 when we first opened. That's important because this recipe is of major importance to me. It's one of the biggest sellers that we had on our food truck. It was something I've eaten more than anything, and its uniqueness was something that made our cart what it was. And that food truck was my first thing I ever did, and because it was good, the food was good, that gave me so much confidence to keep pushing through on life and figuring out something, and it's all led me here. So this is an important recipe for me. I hope that gives you some context behind the recipe. I hope you enjoy. Here's the short rib.
All I do is adore you all of the time. I'd like to I'd like to I'd like to love you every day. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you, love you. If I may, if I may. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you night and day, if I may.
Now, I know the sandwich looks and sounds like it doesn't make sense. Like, it's crazy, it's ridiculous. Blackberry jam, meat, watercress, onions. What's going on here? When we started the food truck, my intention behind the menu, having seen all these food trucks open and having heard some reviews like, I don't want to buy a grilled cheese, I can make the best grilled cheese, blah, blah, blah. So when we came out with ours, I never wanted to hear the complaint, why am I going to buy this? I could just make this myself. So a lot of the sandwiches were designed to have certain elements in it that had our special little touch that maybe left people wondering how we did it, why we did it. I would have never come up with that combination that would have made it valuable for people to visit the truck. And my brother at the time was our head chef. He and I came up with most of the recipes on the food truck. I did a lot of simpler stuff, like the 3 cheese, the vegetarian version, the chicken parm, the nacho grilled cheese. I think we collaborated on the 3 cheese, original grilled cheese, and his tomato soup. Some of the wilder recipes came from his mind.
Short rib, awesome. Crunchy, tasty, melts in your mouth. The meat,
Ordered the short rib and the Fort Greene.
Oh, and the Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts. You have to get them.
Goes hand in hand. It's like a marriage, man. The soup and the Brussels sprout.
He sort of has that way of thinking about food that is just sort of out there, and he tries lots of things, and his cooking is a little bit more adventurous than mine is, but it yields results like this. And this was one of the most popular sandwiches on the truck. It blew people's minds. The combination was something people just didn't see. And today we're gonna show you how to do it. So this is the sandwich. Made from the short rib we made last episode. And we would make it, we would braise it, we would shred it. We would take the carrots in the braising liquid and store the shredded meat in it, store it in quart containers, and then throw it in a steam table, heat it up. And as it sat in the steam table, it sort of, you know, reduced and caramelizes a little bit more. So I'm gonna try and replicate that by just heating it up. I'm gonna add a little bit of water just to loosen it up, sort of reduce that, and just get it nice and hot and ready to be thrown into the sandwich. I've got Gruyere, which I just need to shred. Real Gruyere, says it right there. We got my pickled red onions, which you know how to do now. And then we got some watercress, which is a leaf that's grown in water, hence the name. These little leaves, slightly peppery, and it finishes with a little bit of a bitter note. And that's gonna be something that balances out the sweet, the acid, the richness, the cheesy and creamy fattiness of the cheese. this sourdough, which is gonna be spread with a little bit of this blackberry jam. And this is sort of like a blackberry preserve. There's like little chunks of fruit that are still sort of left, and that's sort of what I wanted. I wanted to be able to bite little bits of that blackberry. And it's all wrapped in some beautiful sourdough bread. And sourdough bread has a little bit of sourness to it. Holds up, and a little bit of that blackberry jam will sort of seep through, and you might get a little bit caramelized bits on the outside of the bread, and that's just sort of part of the sandwich. And just kind of hovering it over, it brings me back to the truck, and it's sort of freaky. That smell was so predominant for a few years of my life, and this sandwich I must have eaten at least every other day for lunch. I would literally eat our sandwiches every day for lunch for like 2 years. And we designed them because we liked them, and I never got sick of them because they were just good. And within those sandwiches we could play around, make new sandwiches. That was just part of the fun of working on the truck, is you just have all these ingredients. Sometimes you have busy times, sometimes you have downtime, and when you have those downtimes you need to feed yourself, and then you can just play around. So today we're gonna play with one of the old recipes, and we're gonna show you the secrets, show you how to put it together, and now everyone can enjoy this sandwich. It's not just if you live in New York, or if you live by this truck, or if you even know about us. The truck no longer exists, but now that the cart is behind me and these recipes have been just sort of sitting around collecting dust, it's time to just share them with the world, to make sure that if you want a delicious grilled cheese, you're gonna know how we used to do it. So let's just get right into it. I'm just gonna grate it on one of these little cheese grater slots. This is about a ½ pound of cheese, probably enough for about 2 sandwiches. When I'm getting new pickles out of my pickle jar, I like to use a glove or fresh washed hands. Just don't want to start adding stuff from the outside in there. That's gonna decrease the shelf life of these significantly. So keeping things nice and clean is a good way to sort of preserve. That looks about enough for 1 sandwich, but add as much as you like.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Night and day, if I may.
So you can just sort of probably even cut one more down, but I don't need that much. You want to get that thick center cut piece. This is beautiful, and you see these little holes, like you're gonna get some of that blackberry jam creeping through, and that's gonna make it delicious. So we got cheese, our bread, our short rib, our mayo, our jam, our onions, and the watercress. I'm just gonna add a little bit of water to the short rib. I'm gonna quickly reheat this over on the stove. So now that we have our short rib cooked, it's hot, we can start to assemble the sandwich. That smell is just taking me back. This is crazy. I don't really ever make this. It's a cool blast to the past. Anyway, let's get into it. First thing you do is put blackberry jam on one side of the meat. Not crazy. A very thin layer is gonna go a long way. And now the close is an art. How do you close this guy up without everything falling? You do it very quick and with confidence, just like you would a book. I sort of forgot, normally we make our sandwiches in a sheet tray just like this. And so when all of the cheese would fall out, then I could catch it in the sheet tray and then sprinkle some on top while it's cooking to kind of create a little cheesy crust. You could sort of see it in this picture right here. So what I'm just gonna do is gather all my extra cheese in the bottom of the pan. And when you're at home, make the sandwich in something like this so you can have like contained area. And then you have your sandwich. She's a beauty. Now we just have a cast iron skillet preheating on medium heat, and we're just gonna let that sit for like 10-15 minutes, let it really really get preheated. Not too hot, not too warm. It's on a medium heat. It's gonna be hot enough, but it's not gonna like burn the bread immediately when we put it on there, which if you have too high of a heat with a cast iron, you're gonna run the risk of doing it. When you make something like this at home and you're not in a rush, cook it on a lower heat than you would a higher heat, because then it's like a steak, right? You could just keep flipping it until you get the nice sear and color on the outside. It's just you're never gonna overcook the center. We're gonna move on over to the stove and show you how we would cook these to order.
I'd like to. I'd like to love you every day. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you, if I may, if I may. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you night and day, if I may.
Serrated knife always works best. You've let it cool, now it should be okay to cut.
I'd like to. I'd like to love you every day. I'd like to love you, love you. I'd like to love you, if I.
Oh man, I've been waiting all week for this. It's so good. It tastes exactly like we used to make it. And now that I know that, it's proven the whole concept of my cart wrong, which is something you couldn't do at home. Now you can do this at home. This is for everyone, and you should do this all the time. If you're making short ribs for dinner, buy more and reserve some specifically for this. It's gonna be another meal. It takes no time to put together. Just have to have a few things like your pickled red onions, which you should always have in the fridge because they're so easy. The complexity of this sandwich is every element works together in an intentional way. The meat is like rich, meaty, kind of stew meat. It reminds you of like a dinner. And then quickly after that, you get this sweetness from the jam. Then you get the acidity from those pickled red onions. That bitterness of the watercress doesn't really taste bitter, but it's there and it balances things out. The cheese is that gooey cheese that you're looking for, and it complements all the ingredients well. And the sourdough just ties it all together. It gets this beautiful brown. This sandwich brings back crazy memories. All these hot sauces here because we had a hot sauce bar in our cart. Cheeses and hot sauces just go really well in our opinion. So we would always just kind of have cool hot sauces to try, see what worked well with what sandwiches. Every hot sauce is delicious on a grilled cheese. My particular favorite with this one is good old sriracha. At the time, this was super hot and we loved it. And I think it's the best hot sauce to complement this sandwich. The only thing it's missing is spicy, and this has that spice that just kind of makes it delicious. When you get these little caramelized bits of the blackberry jam on the outside, it's not burnt, it just adds sort of the characteristic of the sandwich, which is what made it visually identifiable as ours. Now, this isn't even me tooting my own horn. This is not my creation. I know how to make it, but props goes to my brother. This is a wild creation. I don't know many people who would come up with this combination, but he did. So respect, much love, and so here it is, your new favorite sandwich.
I'd like to love you, love you.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking a trip down memory lane with me. Sorry if I got a little overly nostalgic during it, but smells can jog a memory, a deep memory, and this sandwich is associated with many different types of memories for me. So I'm happy to share it with you. Give it a shot. That's that. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about this sandwich. Just another reminder, Saturday, Battle of the Kitchens, smoking and grilling with AB's channel, going up against Kent from Daddy Dutch Barbecue. I mean, look how scary he is right here. Is this guy not the scariest dude around? Anyway, make sure you tune in, vote for the best man. It's gonna be really fun. We're gonna try to make it a really fun episode. That's all that I have today. Go make the sandwich. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.